Hey. Welcome,
Hey,
welcome,
everybody.
welcome. Hey, Patty Duke, how you doing? Nice to
Hey,
see
Patty.
you. Patty. um, anyway, welcome to another episode of Politics and Wellness with, of course, your host, Captivating Christian, and
The credential. Welcome.
I feel so crooked. Hold on, let me try and get myself together. I feel a little like over to the side. Anyway, hey, now I had to get that back in there. Um, boy, oh boy. What we won't talk about is, of course, the thing that will not be named. If I
Oh,
can help it, I think I can. Everything I picked was kind of like, almost touching it, but not really touching it.
okay.
Because at this point, a lot of it, um, it can get very depressing. And being that we are, some of us, stuck inside, you don't want to constantly keep drilling that. But
Yeah.
hopefully everybody's being safe and taking the safety precautions that they need to, which is
Yeah.
most important. Um,
She said, say
yeah.
my name. I'm thinking like, hey, Lady T.
Hey,
I'm
Lady T.
thinking like maybe every other week. I'm noticing we're doing that, not intentionally though. So maybe every other week we'll do it because it's a necessary topic, but we don't need to drown ourselves in the gravy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Smart Show?
Hey, Smart Show.
What's going on? Um, yeah. So, all right. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
First and foremost, um, Bernie Sanders is out of the race, and he has endorsed Joe Biden.
Hmm.
But the push is now to get uh, Bernie supporters to actually back Joe Biden and actually show up and campaign and hit the ground running. That might be an issue. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Hi, Ray Black.
Ray Black, what's going on? You
Yeah.
can't deal. What is your? Hey, Haitian princess, how are you? How are you?
Hey, Haitian.
I know you can't deal with Joe Biden, but I mean, besides the fact that he does seem a little creepy, uh, I mean, I mean, I just,
I mean, he's no more creepy than the creep that's in there.
yeah, I mean that is true, and that's
Just
part
in a
of
different tone, though.
right, and that's part of the reason why he's adaptable to that type of Trump's base is because he is that person, but he's not that person. If it makes any sense, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's the he gonna say something or go there, but he's not gonna go all the way there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
um, that's his appeal. Hey, what's up, Armand? Hey, what's up, brother Nate? How you doing?
Hey, everybody.
So I don't necessarily who do I think will win? I mean, I think Joe Biden will pull it off. It's gonna be tight, and there's some dirt is gonna be done. But I think when it's all said and done and the smoke clears, he will be the president. It's
Right.
not gonna be by no huge margin.
Right.
Telling you that now. Now, whether it's done really, by how it's supposed to be done, or if it's done crooked-ish,
Right.
with somebody throwing something off or trying to do something, it's still going to be close and very contested.
Right.
Be prepared.
Right.
Please don't show up with no sock. Hell,
Right.
hey, thanks. Uh,
Hey,
Thank
Shay.
you, Shay John, for my very first super chat. And just so everybody knows, finally, I have been monetized. And, with the pandemic and everything happening, it put everything on hold. So I didn't really want to just be like, oh, and say something without it actually going through. But yeah, I have officially made it, as they say, I guess, whatever that means. But anyway,
Well, congrats. Hold on. We got to take a minute for that. Even though you've been official, but it's officially official because you got your dollar sign now. So let's take a second
all
and give
right.
a hand clap for all the
Oh,
hard
thanks.
work that he has done.
And not riding people's backs.
You can't get nothing off nobody's back. Well, we're gonna leave that for another time and another.
Please. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. But thank you. thank you all for your support and your encouraging words. Um, that means a lot. Emails, the messages, all that means so much. So please don't ever believe that I take it for granted because I don't. It's been very hard, especially pushing something like this that's not so popular among a lot of people in this area. I won't even call it a sector because it's
because
not.
it's not.
Um, but it's not so popular, and to know that you're pushing something, and yeah, it may take a while to get it running, but once it gets going, it's like it's got a little steam to it. And I don't have to be known by everybody or have tons of people in here, but I'm cool with what I have. So
Right,
it's all a blessing. Thank you.
right,
um
right. Hold on.
so
You know where that comes from? That determination and that motivation comes from? That motivation to keep going for us both actually comes from you guys. Because
mhm.
week after week, we struggle and we have things that we have going on in our personal
Yeah,
lives that can
Lord
make
knows.
us feel like, why do I need to get on here? Why am I here? What am I doing this for? So, the result of that pushing for you and pushing for us so that we can still be through to well true to ourselves to be who we need to be and keep pushing our messages. So having said that, a lot of the motivation comes from the feedback and
Yeah,
energy
it
that you
definitely
guys give out.
it definitely does. Not even a lot of it. The majority of it
Yeah,
comes from the feedback from you all. So thank you and the support because it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like at first you think, oh, okay, I could do this, and then it's like when you realize every day, all
right,
the time, and then when people look for it, you don't want to be disappointing and not um, kind of do it, and then you try to
right,
do other things or add new things, and it don't quite work, and you're like, oh, so it's a growing process, but very thankful.
right, right.
Thanks, Betty Duke. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I ain't gonna sing that super chat song, so don't even.
What's Super Chat song?
It's a this content creator called Kelly Love. He has this super chat song. It's like, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for the super chat. Sound like some old lady church song or something. I don't know why
Wow.
I'm doing that. But thank you so much nonetheless. Since you're rich now.
Welcome, Karen.
Karen R, you know what?
No,
No,
please don't sing it.
no, I'm
Please
not
don't.
singing it.
Spare us. Spare us,
I
please.
am not singing. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what this election season is gonna hold. Uh at one point they were talking about um doing the kind of absentee ballots for everyone, so to speak, to kind of being that, the pandemic is going on, that if
Mhm.
it happens to stretch until November, that, we decide on doing that. Of course, he had to throw his 2 cents in, like, oh, if we do that, then the Democrats are definitely going to win. Because, well, statistically,
Mhm.
absentee ballots, Democrat, it's largely Democratic with absentee ballots, and it sometimes in certain cases it helped push candidates over into the winning column. So
Mhm.
that and he doesn't know that for sure, but he's just going that because probably somebody on Fox News said it, so he's just repeating it. uh, and that's what he does. But
You know,
hey,
I'm
Rain, how you doing? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Karen R, and she said just throw the whole election away, and I'm
No,
feeling
I'm
it
not.
because I'm feeling like the country is running itself. I do not feel like we are properly represented in this pandemic. I just don't. It's just like, I mean, at this point, even with my lack of qualification, I feel like I could get up there and do a better job. Even if I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, at least
Yeah,
I could fake it a little better. He's
right.
not even really faking it where it seems like he is like you could believe in him. I don't. He's not even making me want to think about voting for him again, even if I would consider it. He's not doing anything to make me do that, to
Yeah,
sway me.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I um throw the whole election away. I mean, I feel you in that regard. Um, but that's the thing about how the government is actually run. Like people just think it's just, oh, somebody comes in there, then they decide to run it how they want to run it. No, actually, the government is run by career professionals who are careerly, they're in this. This is their job.
Right.
So that's mainly how it runs. It's just when you see a sign of a Popeyes or something that says under new management, that's all the presidency kind of sort of is. But there are career professionals in all the departments kind of moving it along. The problem is when you get somebody like narcissistic as this guy who basically in a projection to be a dictator, believe it if you want to or not, but that's the way it's going.
Right.
To always, you have to answer to him, be loyal to him, lie, and kind of go along with his falsehoods. And if you don't, then you're gonna lose your job.
Right.
And that's the issue we're having. And when you have people's lives at stake right now at this point, like even when he went off on the journalist and his conference that he likes to do every day at 5 o'clock, just so he can be on TV and the ratings. Um, and she asked him a simple question and he just blows up. It's because he can never take responsibility. Like, you did this, and the only people you can blame is his parents. I mean, because he's grown up like this. He's grown
Right.
up in which he had never had to take responsibility for anything. It was always somebody else's fault. Even if his father may have known it was his fault, he always probably blamed somebody else. So he grew up with that kind of, oh, just put it on the next guy, just put it on the next guy. So everything is not his fault.
Right.
This November, or whenever we do get a chance to vote, hopefully, pray to God, it's November. We will be able to say, no, it is your fault. It's
Right.
on you.
Right.
And move forward. That's my hope. Um, Bernie or Busby. Portal. I mean, personally, I like Bernie, but I ain't like Bernie that much.
Right.
To be perfectly honest with you, any politician, whether you white, black, or purple, and we can't have a talk about reparations. Pause. Stop. What? Let's say
Right.
what? And especially, usually it's harder for us in that political realm to talk about it because it's almost like, oh, that's why you wanted to get in here to give your people money. Mm-mm-mm. But for them, it should be a no-brainer
Right.
to at least admit it. Hey, we know you guys have done, this disproportionate as far as health and everything else is concerned is crazy.
Right.
It's great to say and it sounds great, but what are you
Right.
doing about it?
Right. Hey, Linty.
Like, what are you doing about it? So, I mean, it's always great to talk about something, but when you're actually doing something about it is when you get to say, oh, okay. But when you don't even want to have the conversation,
Right.
or you say, I don't know, what would that do, or what's the purpose of that?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
So, I'm on
if it's that serious, you need to be willing to have a conversation about it, listen and learn, and then move forward.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you see the disparities, you know what it is. You
Right.
have people on your campaign who are from inner cities, so you know what you're dealing with. You know what you're talking about. You know what it is they're experiencing and seeing. So, moving forward, what are we talking about?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's on you now. That's all I got for right now.
Well, one thing I will say is I got an absentee ballot for, I forgot exactly. It wasn't for the November.
No, it's for
primary.
it's for
It's
the
for the local.
primary thing and your local, but being that
Yeah. So I will say that they are making an effort to do the absentee ballot so that, considering the condition and the lay of the land, so that everyone can get a chance to cast their vote. And in my opinion, it's one thing for you should go out and vote, period. But it's one thing for you to have to leave your house to do it. But it's another thing when someone sends you a ballot with a paid envelope and just asking you to scribble and put it into the mailbox. If you do get an absentee ballot, I do encourage everyone to exercise their right because it's being made easy for you, and it's really not something that they have to do. they want to do it. They're trying to make it easily accessible considering the lay of the land. So again, I want for everyone to exercise their easy access to the right to vote when they get these ballots in the mail. And if you don't do it for you, do it for the future. Do it for maybe your niece, do it for your nephew, do it for your cousin, do it for somebody that may need something. So just wanted to push that out there. Do I
And
think that for
I was just going to say amen to Rain Evans because I say that all the time.
I missed it.
Facts. Oh, I'll put it up here.
Okay.
Facts. Bernie Sanders is Jewish, and Jews got reparations not only from the Germans but also from many other places. I'm just gonna leave that there. And so I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah.
Maybe they're afraid that we're gonna make it Israel like they did and kind of claim land for ourselves. And
I can't can't go there. So I respect everyone's opinion, and I can't, go there. However, do I really think that 45 will get another? You know, I think that people are brainwashed. I think that people are comfortable being uncomfortable.
oh my god,
What?
no! You said brainwash, and it made me think of something that I thought I pulled up, but I don't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
And
I think that people are brainwashed. So I think that people will try to go that route, but I also feel, and I could be wrong because it's just a feeling, I do feel that people have learned a lot from what's going on right now. Primarily this pandemic that's going on. I think that people are not liking what they're seeing and how things are being handled. So that's just my thought. I don't think that I think a lot of people feel how I feel like he has not been stand up in this situation. So it doesn't mean that people still won't vote because there are some weak people out there.
mhm.
But I do feel like he will have more of a challenge now than he would have having not this pandemic broke out.
Yeah, what you said brainwash what made me think about it. I was just reading an article before we got on, before I even set this whole thing up. A Georgia lawmaker who happens to be African American is pushing for Trump's reelection. He's a Democrat. His name, oh my God. And people know you do, like, dude, I'm sorry.
Fine.
I hate that. Um, Vernon Jones, he's a state representative Democrat out of Georgia. He
Okay.
is pushing for Trump's reelection, basically saying that um, the same kind of things that Trump has already said, that he has lowered African American unemployment. It's been the best it's been in years, which is not his doing.
Well, w-
And other things as
yeah.
far as the economy and all this of black college. He has supported
Mhm.
historically black colleges and universities and the criminal justice system. And and truth be told, let's get some real facts based stuff out of the way.
Okay.
The justice reform bill, that whole thing. Um, one, Jared Kushner's father is in jail right now. So a lot of that was to usher the way to where in which some of his charges can be dropped. He can be released. Other white collar criminals can go free, like the Madoffs and other people. Not necessarily for people of color. I know we like to think so, and it'd be a great wish and a hope. And they danced around that lady like, oh, look, we let her. She was be able to be released because of this reform bill. Yeah, I get it. You always need a token, but the reality of it is that it will be used to release a lot of other criminals, like the governor from Illinois who was behind bars for trying to sell Obama seat. He was pardoned, right? He was pardoned. A few other people have been pardoned. So
Mhm.
this justice reform, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it because if that's the case, you would see a lot more of us being released. So I'm just saying.
Going back, and I'm okay with this being on your subject for a little while because I can still exist in this for the moment. I'm cool with it. So I'm ready to start something because going back, I forgot who it was. Somebody said I disagree, and I'm curious to know what and why. It's actually the voice, ASMR.
Okay.
Um, what do you disagree with?
Um,
Let's get these things
to
out there.
Lynn,
We need to figure out what's going on. Tell us what you disagree with and why, and let's have a conversation about it. And we
he was
don't need
talking
to
to
necessarily. Hmm?
he was talking to Lynn T, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, if you disagree with me, that's fine too. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, I'm just want to give you an opportunity to express your disagreement. Because it's interesting because you never know what people need to hear so that they can make an informed decision. So we are open to
yeah,
disagree.
um, yeah, and a lot of crooks have been released, but a lot of crooks on different spectrums. It hasn't been any low, not too. I don't know of many low level. I've been in here for 10 years because I can't afford bail on a low. I mean, why am I in here kind of crime? I haven't heard of any. So if you know of some in your state, let me know. But I ain't really heard of any. I've heard a lot of these white collar, money dealings, all this other kind of stuff, trying to trade seats, insider trading, all those kind of people are walking,
Right,
either through pardons or some kind of finagled criminal justice bill. So I'm just trying to understand.
right, right. You know,
Because and then now with what is happening, you looking at, oh well, since all this is happening right now, let's just release. I mean, you got what's his face who was just put in jail, the movie person, the one, he was all crippled and messed up going into court, and then all of a sudden when he got convicted, it was like, oh, I don't need that no more.
how was that
Oh
not
gosh, what is his
Christian?
name?
You got to
Harvey
say it.
Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. So anyway, yeah,
Oh,
you got
gotcha,
Harvey Weinstein now talking about he has the COVID only because, I guess, because if you have it, or they assume that you might get it because of the proximity of, you can, they're looking into releasing people or sending them home or some kind of isolation type of situation. So I mean, even he's put his hat in, said, "Oh, I have it," So because Rikers now is a hotbed for it. And Rikers Island, for those who don't know, is a prison in New York City. Um, well, kind of sort of the Bronx ish. Um, but it is said to have a high rate of the virus in it.
man.
So, with that said, he was there. He's just been there about maybe a month because he was back and forth in the hospital complaining about chest pains and all the mess. So, it's just interesting how people
Yeah, it
play.
a lot of things. The further we dwell in this virus, a lot of things and a lot of people are becoming interesting. Behaviors and things that I'm seeing, and it's like just seeing people exactly for who they are, across the
Mhm.
board on YouTube, off of YouTube,
Right,
outside, and you're seeing people exactly for who they are because they
right.
have no choice but to show you the cover up is gone, the game is gone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like it's just raw. And
yeah,
it's not that people are doing anything wrong where it's like, oh, you're showing me I don't want to talk to you, but
right.
people are showing you who they are.
Yeah. And that's
Um,
what I don't understand about his bigotry. It's like the man's a bigot. Everybody he associates himself with in that line, whether they be black or not, because you can be, again, there's a difference. Racism is a system. It's a system, but
right,
you can have your own biases toward your own people. It
right,
shouldn't be, but you
right,
can. You could, so don't be surprised when, there's a bigot running the country. Everybody else behind them is kind of bigoted, have their own bigoted reviews. And then you're like, but this black man here is in charge of HUD. Well, ask him what his views are
right,
about his own people.
right. We've said this before. Everyone that looks like you is not like you.
I mean,
And that's a broad thing, everyone that looks like you is not like you.
right? They're really not, and it's um it's a bit much. Like even when I read that, and I'm like, Georgia of all places.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean to tell me you don't see it? And then when they asked him, when the chair of the Democratic Party of the state was like, he's a disgrace or whatever. So they asked him, was he going to change party allegiances and go Republican? He said no, he wasn't. He wasn't going. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to. You mean I know what it is. Sometimes I don't like saying it because it's like, no, you don't want to pinhole somebody. But yeah, money talks. And for a lot of people, hey, you throw some money their way, hey, they'll
Right.
flip in a minute.
Right.
Um, and they don't have a problem giving you the money. Why? Because you could be the face.
Right. Right.
They need it. You know what I'm saying? So they'll do anything to make sure they can get a handful of people to switch the vote. They'll do it. They'll throw you a couple dollars. So for you to sit there in the position that you're in and tote this stuff like, oh yeah, he's done so much for black colleges and because you know good and well somebody's gonna pad your pockets
Right. Right.
on the back end for
Right.
doing it. You know it off top
Right.
because they're afraid. The more this stuff happens, the more stuff comes out, the more you got a press secretary. She ain't even been on the podium yet. She done said some racist stuff or backed him on some bigoted stuff he said about the judge one time, that the Mexican judge, when he was like, oh yeah, he's probably Mexican. He's backed it up. She's backed it up talking about some, well, maybe it's not racism if it's talking about an ethnic group. And maybe it's not this if it's that. We're getting to a place like, why does everything have to be explained so much? Why can't it just be what it is?
Exactly. But if you put maybe it's not and the word racism in the same sentence, then what is it?
But that's what I'm saying. But why do we need to have that? Why do we even need to be like, well, is it? You know what it is.
It's mind. I was going to say another word. It's mind foolery. It's mind. It's mind foolery. Again, all right. Let's transition this over to mental health. If I tell you something and tell it to you long enough, I'm banking on the fact that you are not going to research different. You're not going to know different, and you're not going to know anybody else that's going to sway you differently. So if I keep telling you this,
I see that.
I'm hoping that you're going to latch
Yeah,
onto it and it's going to become real for you.
I get what you said. I mean, I've
What
been
do
so
you think?
different for that. Yeah, I've been so different for that. So when I hear people when people like, oh no, well, I'll be like, what? Like, I'm not even talking to you right now.
But see, that's because you're objective. Everything subjective is objective to an extent, if you want to word it that way. So, but not everybody has that. It's just like it's clearly nighttime outside here in Maryland, but you can tell somebody, "Oh, the sun is shining," and some people say, "I think I do see the sun." Some people just don't have their own mode of operation. They don't have their own mindset. They need somebody else to reassure them that they are who they are. And if giving them $10, $20 here and there is going to help them flourish, then they'll be whoever you want them to be. As
Yeah,
long as you can validate them that they're being who you want them to be.
yeah. I don't know. I just don't get it. I'll be wanting to throw stuff at the TV, throw stuff at people saying stuff, break my phone. Well, not break my phone, but like hang up on people. And I've done it. Because I just be like, all right, did you hang up on me? I did. Because I don't,
Right.
there's nothing you can tell me when I'm looking at it. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I get what you're saying. And I get when people be like, well, da-da-da. I hear all that. But it's happening. Like, this is happening. This man gets an attitude because they say, hey, okay, so in January, you kind of sort of maybe you didn't know about it, you found out about it, but what did you do in February? You did nothing the month of February. Why is that? What? Bad question. You're just a horrible person. Horrible person.
Defense mechanism.
But it just don't make no sense to me.
To you because you have obviously some sense. But for someone who does not have sense, that does not bother. It's like, yeah, that was left field. That was in the sky, in the stars. Some people, you see, I
You
mean,
got
let's
to
look
help
at
me with my mental wellness on this one because I
it.
don't get it. No, I said you got to help me with my mental wellness on this one because I don't get it.
I'm not saying that it makes sense,
No,
but
no,
I'm
no, I know that, but
let's take it to the workplace. Well, no, no, we on YouTube. Let's deal with it with right here, YouTube. You get on
Mhm.
somebody's platform that's projecting something about me. Let's just say me.
Okay.
So that here I am talking about politics and wellness. They're telling you who I am, who I'm not, why you shouldn't watch me, why you shouldn't do this and all the other stuff. But yet week after week I get on here with you and I tell you or show you who I am.
Right.
But yet week after week this person gets on to their live and they say bad things about me.
Okay.
So someone who was underneath of that person who's talking badly about me, underneath of their guardianship or their government, is going to be apt to believe or go along with what they're saying because they believe in them.
Mm.
So if I believe in you and then you're telling me this, I have not many reasons not to believe you because I'm underneath of your government.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, and I get exactly what you're saying. But it's just for me, it's like I always do my own personal research. I wouldn't care what anybody said about anybody. I
Right,
gotta watch it and see it for myself to go, okay, yeah, because we even have that, like well,
right,
we even have that. I don't well, just don't bring, and it's like, okay, don't
right,
include me. Okay, but what you experience, I have not experienced. And so
right,
I'm not going to put that on anybody. And I just feel like a lot of people just don't take the time. And I don't know if it's because you don't want to do it or you feel that trusting to be like, oh, well, this is too big of a job. Let somebody else handle it. And you
well,
just feel like you're going to just,
not that. It in my opinion, when you look in the mirror, you just don't see what you want to see. Sometimes you see the things that you don't want to see. So if you challenge me to look into the mirror, I may see those things that I don't want to see, so I just don't look. So if having a second thought or having a second guess with something is going to challenge that one thing may challenge just that for you, but that one question could challenge someone's whole being and what they stand on. You know how scary it is to be 30 some odd, 40 some odd, and or then some, and realize that you've been living a lie your entire life? You know what that's going to do? You think people are crazy now about this virus? They'll be in the learning bin because it's just not going to digest well with them. Some people are not realistic human beings. They have lived since day one on a falsehood.
mm-hmm.
And no one has ever told them no. They just let them go along and get along. Because sometimes people, for example, with money, they don't have a reason to think logically. Money solves all their problems in their
Yeah,
head.
that's true too. That is true.
So
That is true. Good point. And just to piggyback, I saw people in the chat talking about the crime bill. Yeah, the
uh,
crime bill did do Hillary in, but it was the winning ticket for Bill. That's how Bill wound up beating George H. Bush in the election, is because he backed the crime bill that they were trying to push forward. If he did not back it, he wouldn't have been president, and we would have had a two-term president of Bush. But
mhm,
because he backed the crime bill, um, and basically once he got in, that's what he did. He signed it, and it was, it was the golden goose. And for me, and a lot of people were backing it. What's his face? Al Sharpton backed it. Jesse Jackson backed it. A lot of people that talk about it now or say how bad the criminal justice system is now backed it at that point.
right,
For whatever reason, they say, of course, during that time, because I'm a child of the '80s, there was the drug epidemic, which I mean, I don't see too much of a difference from as far as the neighborhoods, but as far as the quote unquote epidemic itself, I don't see any difference from then to now, other than it being white kids and white families being destroyed by it, but they're still not going to jail and being imprisoned at the alarming rate that we were doing to due to this drugs. Now we're talking about treatment centers and helping them find help and
Right,
government funding and all kinds of
right,
that.
right.
Hey, what's
Petty
up,
campaign.
Kingpin?
But yeah, you know, it's that's why I always Cap and I we always joke because I always say peel back the layers. And,
Onions,
and
onions.
that like it's an onion, you gotta peel back that layer. Like nothing or no one exists at the face value in which they present themselves to
Right,
you as. It's always something behind it. So whether it's something good, bad, indifferent, we all are who we are for a reason. So but we have to go back in time to figure out what those reasons were and what caused us to become who we are, if that is something of your interest.
right,
So all of these things that are happening now are not happening because they're happening now. They're historical.
right.
They've been built up based on what happened in history. They've been built up to
Hmm.
happen this way. So different laws, like go research laws, like a law, find a current law that is in act, and then go backwards and find out what caused that law, and
Mm.
then law before that. So it's all a trickle up effect when it comes to judiciary and presidential things.
Well, and then too, a lot of the laws were created to keep that level of keep them here, um,
Yeah, that too.
to separate us, even though after the Civil War, it was like, okay, well, let's try to migrate the two. And it was, oh no, they're gonna come and take our children, take our families, take our lives, take our this, take our that. And it's like, no, we just want our own stuff.
Right.
We just want our own stuff. But it's always been this thing of creating the difference. So I
Right.
don't know. It's just really
Yeah.
crazy.
But it says the fact that we're having this conversation, even to an extent we're backdating it, it tells you how long this stuff has been going on. And we can't ever forget the things that have occurred historically before us. So if we think that we have it rough right now, what do you think the people before us went through so that we could reap what we're reaping right now?
Right.
And we can't ever lose sight of the things that happened before us, because though the struggle is not, it's not, I mean, how do I word this? The struggle is still existing, but the struggle is nowhere near what it used to be. And so for that, I encourage people to be thankful for what we have today, even though it may not be a lot of things, but the state of today was not even a figment of people's imagination years ago.
Yeah. But I mean, if you wipe away, but then this is my fear, so to speak, but if you wipe away or kind of chip at the history, the knowledge, and all of that that's gone through
Yeah,
the people that's gone through that. When you have these kids like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That was so before me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't. It's like you usher in that opportunity to
yeah,
fall right back into that place, and it won't be the same, but it'll be something like that same place. Even
right,
now, you look at this current administration. This is how that mustache man started.
right.
Um, I mean, it really is. It was like, oh, they're taking over. Oh, we want our Germany back where it's just us. And there's just a few people like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I like it. There's too many foreigners here. We should keep it to ourselves. Da-da-da-da. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And people just followed behind his thing. And then next thing you know, they were doing massive stuff. And then it was like, oh, then when it's all over, everybody running like I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I didn't know, or hiding, and having to be discovered later on and go through trials and stuff. So it's like it's not that it cannot happen if you allow it. To a degree, it can repeat itself. It's never going to look the same way it looked once before, and I think that's what a lot of people look for. They look for the same exact to be like, oh yeah, we're headed towards this way. No, it's not going to be the same, but it'll be something like it. You
New
look at
age. Yeah,
right. You look at the prison industrial complex. There's tons of people of color in them who get paid little of nothing sometimes, but they doing work. They making furniture, caskets, license plates. Who knows what else? Probably
Right.
making underwear and lingerie. We don't
Right.
know. All you know is it says made in the USA. You don't know where.
Right. Right. Right.
And you talking about some, well, I like my clothes made in the USA because I'm an American. If you don't get your
You know, I can remember back and being a kid and just looking at little stuff because I was always an observant person as a kid. Everything said made in China or Korea but most of it was made in China. It was just not important to people back then.
oh my god, speaking of a kid, and this is just a quick side story inside, but it's funny. I used to hate when my mother would be like getting those pencils, and they say made in China,
Yeah, yeah.
but they smell so bad.
They didn't even write the same.
They stunk to me, and I could not. I would throw a hit, like a whole fit. I'm like, it's a pencil, right with it. Like, no, you don't have to sit with this thing. And I'm left-handed too, so I gotta turn the paper and do all this, and it's all up in my nose and stuff. I used to hate it. I'd be like,
Right, right,
I'd break them on purpose and be like, I don't know what happened to them. Mom, it broke.
right.
Um, until she got the number two ones, the mead ones, and I was like, okay, cool, but
Yeah, yeah,
just hated that. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So,
It's just
mhm.
no. I was no. Go ahead.
No, we are just living in a time where nothing can be taken for granted. You know,
Right.
nothing can be taken for granted. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about actually spins into that is being prepared for when the seasons change in your life.
Mm,
Look at the state of where we are right now. Not even speaking of that
yeah, that thing.
god awful thing,
Yes.
but look at where we are right now.
Mm,
We are in a state of unpreparedness. We
mm,
were not, many of us were not prepared. That's why so many things are sold out. That's why people are hustling around. And it's not about being prepared in the materialistic sense. It's being prepared up here. You know, I remember being a kid and my grandmother saying, speaking of the days when she wouldn't be around, you know, or speaking of the days when something may happen, so you better pay attention because she knew that one day it was going to come, so she prepared me for it to happen.
mm-hmm.
Granted, we can't prepare for the state of right now, but we can always prepare ourselves to be in a better sense. Like saving our money is one of the biggest and easiest steps. You know, even if you're saving $10 a month, start somewhere. You know, be prepared for something outside of where we are right now today. You
Right.
know, the mental state or the mental capacity of tomorrow is not promised to myself or anyone else. You
Mm,
could wake up tomorrow because of what's going on and lose your mind.
right. Yeah.
And is your family prepared for that? Do they know how to do what you do every day that they may take for granted in the
Mm,
event of your demise, on the event of your absence, on
right.
the event that anything, you know, I don't want to wish any ill or speak any ill into anybody's life, but in the event that you become ill, can your family function without you? Have you given them the tools to do so?
Right.
So those are the things that I really want to speak on, and it's not specific to one area, just wherever in your life,
Mm,
being prepared for when the season changes,
right.
because it will, and sometimes things will change in a good way,
Right.
and even you got to be prepared for that. Like things could go in a good way, but sometimes good things cost money.
Right.
Am I prepared for that? And if you're not, take your time to get prepared. Don't move too quickly.
Mm,
You know, those are just things that cross my mind in this state of unpreparedness that we're in across the board on so many different levels. Just finding a level of preparedness that's suitable for your life and trying to adapt it more and more and adapt it into your family members and your friends that are around you so that we can all be better as a community because the community starts being better by what we do at home.
mm,
Start at home and then project it out.
mm. Very true. Good word. Good word. um, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, I did want to talk about this though, because I know a lot of people run small businesses, and I know that due to all this mess, they were talking about doing funding for small businesses
Hmm.
in the range of a couple $1 billion. Let me get
Wow.
the number exactly, like 300 billion
Due
for
to
small businesses, right?
right now.
Yeah, due to
Okay.
due to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So uh, that's the plan, right? And that all sounds great. However, there's a loophole in that people who have criminal backgrounds or some sort of probation or a felony um, may not be eligible for these loans. So
Mm.
there's always something to kind of be like, here you go. Oh, no, you can't get it. You know what I'm saying? And this will affect people in our communities more so than anybody else. Because, of
Right.
course, a lot of us, who may have had a troubled past or growing up, got into some trouble, but then kind of got on the straight and narrow or, found a niche or a path for them, created their own business, and, never looked at crime again, but it's still there. It happened. Um, and it could be, I think it had to be within 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years, something like that. Um, so yeah, it's always something, and it just kind of irritates
Yeah.
me to a degree because it's always like you show this thing or you say, "Here you go," and for whatever reason, I know personally that it's just, "Hey, let me get you on my side," and then it's
Right.
like, well, because it
Right.
sounds good, it sounds great. You thinking
Right.
you're a small business? Oh, cool, yeah, great. And now you
Right.
like, well, no, you on probation, you can't have that. What do you
Right.
mean my business still suffers? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So it's just like, why? Why is this?
Right. The voice, I agree. I don't think that there's any specific way to be prepared for this. But in not being prepared for something specific and just being more prepared in general, we can then take our preparedness and apply it to specific situations. So that is what I'm encouraging. But again, I do agree there wasn't a way to prepare for this. Some of the most prepared people were still unprepared for this
Yeah,
specific
to
thing.
this level, yeah, to this level, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
this level, yeah.
yeah. Oshila, how is small businesses defined in order to get help? Well, from my understanding, small business is defined. I'm sorry, just as what it is, a small business, but it's not. Well, it has to be a official business, like a registered business, something that you actually. I forgot the number that you receive when you actually register your business.
Uh,
I was going to say ISBN, but as a book.
no,
um, I
what?
can't think of the name, but it's a way that you actually register it so that I can't go and create that same name and as a business underneath that same, you know, whatever. But that's one of the ways. But if you have a business that isn't recognized because it's not lawfully registered and you're not reporting it on your taxes, then that's probably one of the things that's going to knock a lot of people out of the box. Um, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Okay, he's talking about felonies. That might be something you want to go to. He's talking about what you were speaking on.
Where is it? I didn't see it because I
It
was
was,
just looking at the rest of the article to see if I can.
oh
But yeah,
no,
what the article was saying, even involving that in small businesses, that um, since 1980 to 2015, and I'm sure the number is more than this, but they reported that 500,000, a half a million people of color have been imprisoned due to um, over the top drug convictions and all those kinds of things. So it's serious, and it didn't stop. It didn't slow up. It's just
right,
that it got exposed. So it was like, whoa, let's
right,
slow it down a little bit. We ain't gonna stop it. Well,
right,
some people have taken it a step further and said, nope, we're gonna knock these down. Like places in New York, for example, they had they call them Rockefeller drug laws. They got rid of some of them, but they didn't get rid of all of them.
yeah,
Um, and it's a way to keep control.
right,
Uh, for some reason, I just think that some of them think that if we were to get some funds and some kind of our own kind of thing going, that it would, they'd have to fear for them lives, and they would be the ones picking something, and all kinds of mess. And it's just like I don't see that. I mean, some of them may deserve something, but
Right.
I just don't see us as a people doing. I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't
I
see it.
understand that thought process. It's just unfortunate that I feel like we have so much going on in the world that some of the thought processes that we will be straight up and clear on, we're kind of
Hmm.
clouded on because we're unsure of our steps because some of us have been really knocked off by this far more than we discuss. Whether it's mentally, whether it's financially, whether it's I can't go to my job or whatever the case is, a lot of us have been knocked off of this because it's just not normal,
Yeah.
to be told to do not go out of the house unless you have to. It's almost like your parents saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
better not go out of this house."
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Yeah, I'm sure, Linty. I'm definitely sure the number is far more higher than that. But of course, they don't want to say anything. Uh, Thank you, Portal. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. People don't want to say nothing because uh, when we should, I mean, we should always take a stand, and when something is unjust and not right, say something. I mean, yeah, it'll cause some backlash sometimes, but hey, um, at least people know it is what it. Like you
Right,
won't stand for that. Like
right,
you stand for something.
right, right,
So I
right.
just feel like we get to a point where in which you know I'd never forget it. I read this book by Sister Soldier called "Coldest Winter Ever," and I'm not really a hip hop or book type reader or whatever. So when I read it, I was like, why would she let her sister go through all that she went through once she saw that? And so when I speaking to my oldest brother, he had told me he read it, and I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm gonna pick your brain because we don't. He's more in the street or whatever than I was. So I was like, I want to pick your brain and know exactly what you took out this book. Like, let's go.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. I said, so you mean to tell me you're older than I am? If you see me going down the same path that you went down, you wouldn't say nothing to me when you saw me at that moment? I think it was a funeral or something. You
Hmm.
wouldn't say nothing to me? He was like, yeah, I would have done this. I would have done the same thing. I said, wow.
And you got to keep in mind that people can only speak to you from their experience and where they are, what they've seen. So if doing the same thing is consistent with who he is and what he's seen, it seems right to him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, she's gone through it. This protagonist in this book, and I'm not spilling it for everybody. It's a great book. You should read it if you
I
haven't.
didn't finish it, but I
Uh,
did start it.
hold on, sorry. Okay, so it's a great book. Not spoiling for anybody, but the girl has been through a lot. Like she was kind of like young and was all into the drug dealers having the money and all that kind of stuff, and she had some experiences, and then she saw a little sister going in that same route. When she got older and and she was getting herself back on track, she saw her sister and she saw it. Just how she was, just everything. And it was like she was like, nope. She was like, she wasn't gonna say anything. And I was just like, wow. To we for us to get to a place where we see each other going through something or dealing with something and be like, well, that's your problem. When people say like, oh, it was, that's when the black community or whatever separated. When we started thinking like that is when we started to break away. The
No, I
family
agree
too,
with that.
the family too, of course, the family dynamic of breaking up the family. But when we as a people started to be like, well, you on your own, ain't got nothing to do with me. Yeah,
I agree with that, but that approach comes from people not wanting to be told anything. You can't tell nobody anything. You're offending me. You're getting on my nerves. You're this. You're that. So
mhm.
when when you tell people stuff, they nobody wants to be told anything.
They do what?
They, I'm not doing it again. Hey, Rebel,
Hey, what's up,
they
Rebel?
don't like to be told anything. You know what I mean? And some things is just some people are jaded with being told because some people will tell you things to manipulate you, but
Right.
not everybody wants to manipulate and mold you. They just want to look out for you, and it's up to you to figure out
The
who
difference.
they are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like even if someone is trying to manipulate you, you will learn something from following that through, but not doing what they tell you to do, but just
Right.
following it through a little bit because you can learn something. I say it all the time from everyone. A
Mm-hmm.
good experience has his perks as well as a bad experience has his perks.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna say his because it just sounds good right now. But and you got to keep that in mind, you know. And that's something that I really wanted to use that as a branch off into something that I think is important to even to be a leader or learn to be a leader,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't want to be a leader in your professional life, to be a leader in your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And being a leader doesn't mean being in charge. It doesn't mean being at the forefront. It just means be about your business. Be so much about your business and making sure that others around you, specifically your family, are
Mm-hmm.
so good and great that everything's going to be okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, uplift. If you're dating someone and you're pursuing them and you think it's getting serious, don't just go along to get along. Learn something, uplift them. So if you guys do break up, don't leave them a worse person from when they met you. Leave them a better person,
Right.
you know. And hopefully, if you guys are dating somebody, you won't. But I'm just saying, if that breakup does come, take something away from the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Good and everything.
It's
Just
something you
take
can
it
learn.
out,
Yeah.
you know. And that will help you to become a leader in your personal life. So the next time when someone's trying to take you down the wrong path, you just be like, you know what, I've seen this before. I'm
Yeah.
going to take control and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a leader of my own destiny and I'm not gonna fool with you.
Yeah.
You know, that
Hey,
kind of stuff.
Donna, nice to see you. Sorry. I love
Oh,
Donna.
hey, we haven't seen you in a little bit. I hope everything's well with you.
Right. Love Auntie Donna. She's like my auntie in my head.
Is
She's like,
it
yeah.
the name was it she really is like your aunt?
Yeah. No, when she speaks, she's like, it's really like Auntie
Yo,
Donna in my
it's tired of building a bed. You're probably picking the wrong pick of the litter.
head. Not the rogue pick of the litter.
If it if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. You
Good night, The Voice. It was nice having you. Please come back again next Tuesday.
know? But you know, there is no perfect person. Even the
No.
perfect person for you to come with.
Yeah. And I think we have to get out of that mindset. Like, yeah, there's no perfect person. You at some point there you have to find that compromising thing. But you do have to, stay true to what your standards are and what you will accept and won't accept. But know that everybody's not going to have your checklist. So please
Right.
don't come
Yeah.
in anything
And
like,
don't have a checklist because when you go check in the box, everything isn't going to look like you want it to. You
well,
know, hmm?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, everything's not going to look like you want it to. Like I said that I would never buy a certain color car. You know what I have right now? That same color car.
Mhm.
It was it, you know. So you may say, hey, I don't want this height person, this person, that person. There are some standards you should have, but
Mhm.
some things should be substandard,
Yeah.
you know. Just be open minded because in not being open minded, you can miss out on a lot of things in your life
Yeah.
across the
Yeah. Stop using cheap parts. Yeah, exactly. But then too, I really want people to get this. A lot of times people come with checklists. Know that the same checklist you come with, people come with their own checklists. So don't be all caught up in a bunch when you check, 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 and they like X to you on your end because you thinking, well, I'm perfect. Or I'm a good catch. I'm good for somebody. So, know that when you come with expectations like that or things that you demanding right off top, somebody could be coming with the same thing, and you may not be their pick either. So,
Right. And you got to be careful while your head is down, you're check, 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 check. You could be missing something.
missing a few people passing by, while you swiping,
You can
swiping.
miss people, you can miss traits, you can miss anything. Like, all right, since you met all the checks, you're perfect.
Right,
Just because you met the checks on the box, what makes you perfect? There
right,
is nobody that's perfect.
right.
Not even perfect for you. They just, your body, your physiology will tell you when they're right. And I'm not talking about lust. We all know what lust feels like. We're not talking about how can I say this? Being brainwashed after sexual intercourse. We're
Mm,
not talking about that because your body naturally responds well. You're amped up, you know, on your bad days. This is how you're gonna know when that person is the one.
that's awesome, Patty Duke. That's how it's supposed to be.
Also, Patty, and I'm sure Patty Duke that on your bad days you can go to your spouse and
Right.
get some type of insight. It may not be
Even though sometimes you may want to knock him in the head, but
in fact, if you don't want to, that's another reason
yeah,
why that you might not want to be like, wait a minute, if it's too right, it could be wrong,
right. That's true too. That
you
is,
know?
yeah, that's
So yeah, you gotta be selective
yeah.
and take some time to slow it down and sometimes you might need to start that argument because that argument might show you exactly who that person is.
Hmm.
Um and with that, sometimes we need to go to therapy and talk about the things that we've been through because we could be projecting what we've been through onto our
To
potential
other people, yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's not because they look at you as damaged
Yeah.
and it may not be true. I said this to my therapist earlier and I actually wrote it down and I wanted to share it. So I will that therapy brings things out of you so that the therapist can use that to bring you out. Because again, when you're going to therapy, they're not doing anything special. They're just helping you cope, deal, and see the things that you've dealt with in a new light. So
Mhm.
if we adapt that mindset when thinking about therapy and going to deal with therapy, I think that we'll have a bit more ease knowing
Mhm.
that the therapist is not a threat to you. They are actually one of your best assets.
Right. That is true. That is very, very true. Do you have anything else? I don't have anything else. I don't think. Mm, no.
No, no.
Nope, I don't have anything. So, if anybody had any questions, comments, or concerns, you can either post them in the chat or call the number. I think it's still up. Yep, it's up. I think it's on here somewhere. Um,
Come on in and give us something challenging. Give us some insight,
or I could just drop. How do you feel about dropping the link?
huh?
Make that face.
It depends. It depends on who is the fish biting on the bait.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, not like that, but I don't think it'll be because you can always knock them like him or her out of the whatchamacallit, so it's no big deal. This way, I ain't even gotta worry about that.
Thanks, Lynn T. We appreciate it and all of the support of all of the
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
subscribers.
As
And
always.
I think we have one mod in the chat. We definitely
Yes,
appreciate.
thank you so much, Haitian princess. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're definitely not a princess. You're a Haitian queen. This way, but definitely being the mod of just awesomeness. I can't. Um,
Thanks, Rain. We appreciate it.
thank you, Rain. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always appreciate it. But yeah, that's really all we have. So, like I said, if anybody have any questions, please.
Oh wow,
Oh
I'm sorry.
wow, sorry to hear that, Auntie Nana.
Sorry
Definitely
to hear
will.
that. I know what that feels like. I recently lost one from my childhood within the last year. And
Mm,
the best thing I can say that got me to be okay is that knowing that he contributed to who I am. And even though he is gone, all of his lessons are still living, you know. And that's one of the best things about being a great person and being a great leader is that the legacy that you left and the lessons that you
mhm.
teach will continue to live on through the people and the way that they live their lives. So if you want to
When
make
you're
him
a true shepherd.
happy,
Yeah. When you're a true shepherd, yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So if you want to make him happy, Auntie Donna, just go ahead and let his legacy live in how you live.
Right. Very true. Very true. Um, Brother Nate just asked, what do you think about the Nigerians being evicted out of China? And the Syrians being evicted out of China too. Um,
Go ahead.
no, no.
Um,
'Cause I feel a whole lot of ways about it. So I'm gonna let you go first.
I will say I'm not surprised. I hate to say that, I'm not even going to go the way of I'm not going to approach this by way of realism. I'm going to approach this by way of what we can expect because what we can expect is not always realism. So I'm not surprised because it then comes down to it's about what is disposable. Who is the disposable that we can get out, that we can be justified in doing so, that we can get away with and not too much pushback be given about it. That's really what I feel about it. And that's just the basis of it. There are other components to it. I won't deny that, but that is the basis of what I feel. You know, we regardless of your descent, we are not often endeared by many people, by many other races.
Hmm.
And I have friends and like I said, family of all things, but it's not that it applies to everyone. There's a history of it, and it's easy to embark upon the history versus doing something different and starting anew. So I hope that answers your question about it. And that's the baseline on which I stand. I don't think I need to say no more. I hope that you're good at reading through the lines, but I need to keep this a little clean, so that's the most I'm going to say. And I'm cap is itching, so I'm gonna let the dog out.
I think it's humanly disgusting. I think it's disgusting. I think the simple fact that you don't want it to be labeled as a Chinese disease, so then you try to be like, oh, okay, no, the black people brought it here. Let's get these blacks out of here. Evicting them, having signs on restaurants, feeding them out of dog bowls or bowls that you would like, whip eggs up in or something like that because they can't go into the actual restaurant to sit down and eat is disgusting. But the simple fact that we are not a unit, whether it is over in the continent or here, enough to say, what the hell are you doing? Like all the others do, trust and believe. Like I always say, when that Chinese American cop shot that black man in that hallway in the projects in New York, Chinatown, okay? All of Chinatown, New York City got on the phone with China and they were like, wait a minute, what you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. Do something else.
Yeah, it is unsettling, Rebel. It
But
is.
this is disgusting to the point where now you're not only saying, and this is all from projection, of course, because we do it, they do it here to us. So it, it's like, oh wait, well they do it to them anyway. So hey, why not? We're
Right.
just gonna say, oh yeah, they did it, they caused it. I mean, that's apartheid all over again. This is Jim Crow all over again. This is so many things on a global scale that nobody's like, whoa, wait, what?
Yep. You know why? Because it's not happening to them.
No, and mainly because it is who it is. They're Africans, so it's already like you're less than, or you're not. You're this, you're that.
Right.
So I mean, it's just added to it.
Right. How
Um,
I
but
do want to say, don't take what's happening over there in China out on the Chinese Americans because it's
oh
not
yeah, no, yeah, definitely not saying that.
out there because some people would just boycott Chinese.
Well, I mean, the level of racism has risen to the point where a lot of groups are attacking Chinese Americans and saying you gave us this or whatever, whatever, and
Right.
that's going extremely too far. But I think the fact that this is happening to our people, whether we are distant from them or not, far removed, 32%, 33%, 2%, whatever percent you are of that's crazy.
Yeah, it,
That's crazy.
it is. I agree
Um,
with that.
oh,
Totally agree with that.
okay, Rebel was down here, but she disappeared. Rebel, you can come back. I don't know, maybe his phone died or something. But Rebel, if you're still in, you could pop back in. I was about to click on you and then you disappeared. I just wanted to get the thought out before I introduced you. I didn't just want to pop you up here like some people do. Well, make sure you're prepared and ready. I don't want you to just be like, "Hey, bloop," and you be like, "Oh, okay." I mean, that's what happens.
I can't with you.
People. But yeah, I words cannot. I stopped talking about it because I stopped talking about it. I stopped doing articles on it because I get so enraged because it's like it doesn't matter. And at this point, we need to be just as concerned about things that happen to Africans as much as we should be concerned about things that happen with us here at home.
Right.
Because if we don't at some point create some kind of bridge, we can give it up. We
It's
can give it up.
further and further.
We could give it up because, for one, never knew that there was African people in China. I mean, I'm just saying. Every time they show
I'm
China,
trying to turn my volume down.
all you see is Chinese people. They don't ever show that they have an area where there are people, African people in it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's news to me. So then I was just like, okay, well, let me read and research. And the more I read it, the more I watched it, the more I was just like,
Yeah, but
no,
you got. I mean, you understand, but we have to understand that culturally, there's integration everywhere. Just like people didn't know that there were white Africans.
yeah, I mean, it is, but you see
Right.
how it is portrayed, though.
Right.
You see the level of the degree that the country overall is able to display. This is what I want you to see. Like when you see any kind of advertisement for even going to China, all you see is Chinese people. You don't see Africans like, you don't see that because they make sure they don't show you that. And when you go there, you may see something different. I'm like, oh, I didn't know, but they're not showing you that.
That's true. Hey, Rebel.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Credentialed? Yeah.
Well,
I had been watching everything that's been going on, and I was just really appalled. And I was like, could you really? And I look at blacks around the world are usually the lower men on the totem pole. So it's acceptable to, and even in countries, you see a lot of times they're definitely against Parker. So of course, people that are of African descent will be looked at as scapegoats,
right?
Because it was uncool when Trump said the Chinese. Now they're looking to put it on someone else's back that they deem as being lower than them, But yeah, I saw trying to ask for assistance at a restaurant, and they were just ignoring him and walking off and like shooing him off, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
At this time and age, we're really allowed to treat people like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I mean, all I thought of is Jim Crow, whites only, kind of mindset. And the more I've seen the signs that was like, don't go, no black people can eat in here, the more enraged I got in the fact that no one stateside. I mean, granted, people their side should be saying something too, and I'm not saying that they aren't, but of course, we wouldn't hear anything about it
Right.
until someone stateside, of course, like, hey, pay attention to this. But I'm just like, what do we? And I get it. We're dealing with this pandemic, but it ushers in the opportunity for certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because if they get away with this, look for Germany, look for all these other places to start doing these kind of push to blame it on somebody and push them out. And I'm just thinking like that's just we going to a place that I'm just like,
My question is, what is the suggestion for change then? What do you think that they can do in these countries that are experiencing this to change it?
oh well, first and foremost, the I don't know where you went, but his phone probably acting up. But we first we need to come together first and foremost because we need to be on some sort of united front. Like, hey, don't we not going to stand for this. Whatever benefits you get from it, we will pull it.
Right.
Whatever reason, just 2 years ago or last year, might have been 2 years ago, that China donated all this money to Africa. Because if that's what you did it for, so you could do that and have a scapegoat for your. Now we ain't playing that game.
Right.
So we need to come together and say that.
Right. So my question then is, how do we get us to come together? Because
Yeah, we need to leave all that foolishness alone. Well, again, it's been such a disconnect that we need to really find a way to kind of get it together because I can't.
but it's hard. Like I said, when
I
you
know, I
you
know, I
are
know.
the heads of the flock, how do you get that? Like we sit here week after week. What we are we've been doing this for maybe 30 weeks now.
Mhm.
Um, And yet, even though we sit here and we talk about the things that we discuss, politics and wellness, there's still people doing everything that's to the contrary of what we're trying to correct. How do
Right.
you
Yeah.
stop?
Yeah. I mean, for me, my thought on it is that you just keep pushing you. You just keep pushing you, and eventually you'll get there to where in which you change the minds of others. I just look at like past his everybody probably wasn't on board at first with the Martins and the Malcolms and uh, the oh gosh, Fairleigh Hamers and the so many others. I was thinking of one in particular, but his name escapes me right now. Mega Evers. Everybody wasn't on board at first with all that. You know what I'm saying? For an array of reasons.
Right,
So some just fearful of the repercussions or things of that nature. But they kept pushing, and sometimes you just have to keep pressing. Now it's different, of course, because you don't have to. I mean, at this day and age, that whole kumbaya, we gonna hold hands in March. Them days is over.
right.
I can't. It's either take action or just sit back and be quiet and let them just let it happen with no lube. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, huh?
Anywho, you slid that in there like nobody could hear that.
No, but I know, but I'm just saying. But that's what that's how I feel about it. It's just like we need to start doing something and like doing something impactful, not just looting and burning up our own places.
Right. Well, see,
That's it's not serving a purpose.
it's not serving
Thanks, Rebel.
but it's because the stuff it starts at home. Like a lot of people that do like the rallying and the
Hey,
burning
TC, how you doing? Mm-hmm.
because they don't know anything else. Or they grew up in destruction and disruption. So that is perpetuating themselves. Like you can see on the news right now, people in Baltimore City on news just gathering around on dirt bikes and doing all this other kind of stuff.
Right.
and thinking this coronavirus is a joke. But as soon as someone, God forbid, passes away from it,
Right.
they're going to be hemming and hawing at the gravesite.
Right.
It was just all a game,
Right.
But you know why they do that? Because they don't know any better. We are some of us are perpetuating that as long as it's hood, it's good,
Right.
and it's not. Everything is not all good in the hood.
No.
You can be from the hood. Why can't you still be something better?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it I don't know. This stuff has existed for far too long, and I keep saying, it starts with one, it starts with me, is one of my slogans, and it starts with all of us. But if we're starting with us and we're doing it, then why aren't we reaching other people?
Mm.
Because here it is Tuesday, and now we're talking about politics and wellness. But if I take and then turn around tomorrow Wednesday and get on my channel and start talking about cat, then what good is what I'm doing today?
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
contradicting it. Why should anybody believe in being well when you're showing that you're not well?
Right. Well, because I mean, people like say, I don't want to learn. I don't come on the YouTube to learn nothing.
I
I
can't-
come on the YouTube to laugh and
Yeah, and look at how
all
your
this kind of stuff. And it's just
for.
like, right,
Let me know.
right, right, right. How it's really working out for you, not working
But
out for you as far as the perception that you give us on the other side of your device, but
yes,
how it's behind you
yeah,
when you turn your device off. How is that working out for you?
yes. Please let me know.
Please.
And not to make fun of, but if you see something continuously going the same way in your life, it's time for
A change. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's really right.
not for you. If not for you, then the people that around you. Because when you suffer and people see you suffering, going through certain things, they suffer too.
Yeah.
So if your mom is still alive, if your grandmother's still alive, the women are the ones who go to bed wrestling at night because they're worried about what you're out here doing because they know you're a fool.
Right.
You know?
And praying for you to get right. But yeah, you're absolutely right, brother Nate. Young people do think that they'll live forever, but
Yeah, that is
we
true.
don't know. I mean, even in this day and age, we are at a point where young people, especially young black men, police fearful life shooting and get shot for what? And it's like you don't have to live in fear, no, but why do you then to add to it? You know what I'm saying? Like being out there doing something like this at that point would be adding to
Right,
giving them a reason.
right, right,
Why?
right. Yep.
So many other things you could be doing with your time. And I get it. Oh, I'm just not about books or whatever. Well, find something.
You don't. I'm
And
not a
that's
big book reader either, but you'd be surprised how much I've learned just by skimming, by googling, by just listening.
mm,
Before I got a college education, I learned a lot by listening and
mm,
watching
mm,
people and things. That's how I learned about keeping my credit good. That's how I learned about how to treat people. It was just not, oh, you just treat. When you go to church, they tell you everything that's going to make them look bad. They
mm,
don't tell you about when you leave church and you go to work on your own, how to conduct yourself. They
mm,
just tell you what's um depending on your following Christ like
mhm.
and expects you to know the rest. So there's something outside of everything that you do that again you have to peel back those layers in order to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, TC. We do need to start investing and buying farms and stores. Um, but again, they need to be able to sit down and actually learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to have those things. And this is another reason why I say instead of the church sitting up here asking for money from the parishioners to do testing or to get tested. They should be doing it for free, just like the churches should be offering financial classes on investing and other things like that.
No,
Wills and
benefit them though because they want you to invest in the church, not invest into you. They want you to give your last to them, not to yourself. Not pay it forward. They want you to pay them.
Yeah, but while you paying them, you still on public transportation, or or you barely have a job, or all these things that if you want to be useful and really utilize what you're there for, then do that.
Right.
I just don't, and you have all these, and some small ones, churches that are small, but there are some huge mega churches, and it's like soon as you say an artist is coming, or they flood, and but it's like, what are you offering your community? Like, what are you offering? It's
Right.
ridiculous at this point. It's getting to be, and the more this is going, the more it is showing how full of the church is. I just again, the system of church. I'm not even going to say church, but the system, how messed up, dysfunctional, money grabbing it is. We've gone from a place of being a place of refuge, of political power, education, all those things. Like Sunday school, of course, now we look at Sunday school as like, oh, just learning about a lesson. But Sunday school was actually school for a lot of
Right.
people during slavery. Like Sunday school was a way that they learned how to read secretly,
Right.
all these things. So we've gone from a place of education, empowering, equipping our people to what?
Right. Wait a minute. TC said the building fund can't exactly, TC, because the building fund is continuously going. So to me,
But ain't nothing being built.
right. To me, the offering is building the building fund that goes back into it. You know what I mean?
This is, I
Um,
mean, it's ridiculous. It's
it's
full of shit,
crazy.
is what it is. Full of
And
shit.
I understand your stance on that, Rebel. I do. Like I said, I wish that more people would take a few religion classes just in school
Yeah.
so that you learn. If you don't, just go to the library and go and read about it if you don't want to go and take a religion course in a college.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I grew up in the church. I grew up Baptist. Baptist with like, it was like a half and half, like an Arnold Palmer, Baptist and Pentecostal. Like, kind of grew up in that realm. And I mean, I always, like I said, I always thought for myself. So I always knew there was more to it. But once I took classes in religion and kind of got to see like the similarities, and
Right.
are you serious?
Right. It's just one little
The
thing.
same, right,
Jesus,
right. There's one little difference, and you like, but now how that happen?
yeah.
How y'all all kind of have somebody who was sinless, die, kind of come back? Interesting, and it just makes you think. It just makes you think. It don't take away nothing from your own spiritual, thing, because that's your journey, that's your personal thing. But it does make you think overall of the way it is portrayed, the way it is put on you,
Right.
the symbolisms which you're not supposed to be praying to, that you wind up praying to. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And then the visuals you get, and you go, well, it really doesn't matter what color he is.
Right.
But if I'm looking at white Jesus all the time,
What are you gonna think?
when white Jesus don't look like me,
Right.
look like white Jesus. So
Right.
then what is the eventually that is, it is seeping in there. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, going to Haitian's question was how can the church charge someone for the test, basically, to sum it up. And my counter question to that, I'm with you, but my counter question is how could you allow someone to charge you for something that could, one, be free, or two, be paid for by your insurance? So if you go into a situation and you're gullible, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go support the church, support the church, support the church, support the church, and you're gonna pay for that test, that's what you're doing. The church can't take nothing that you're not giving.
That's true too. But it's fear. It's playing on the fears of the people. And I
Right,
think that's wrong. When you get the test for free, why the hell wouldn't you give the people the test?
right,
Period.
right.
Now, if you wanted to do some kind of old shaky love offering for the
It's
people that are taking the test, then whatever.
how
But
much love is there when you consistently taking up a love offering? Because I need love.
well, I mean, that's what they call it.
I could use a love offering.
But for me
Listen, y'all,
personally,
love offering tonight.
right, right. Thank you for the love offer tonight, people. Thank you so much for the love offering. But I just, I'm appalled. Like all of this, you'll know how many. I just be like, what in the world? What is going on? Like seriously, what is going on? There's no reason to be charging anybody to do anything right now. If it's not free, then don't offer it.
Right.
If it's not free, don't offer it. Because if you believe that a lot of people are just sitting around waiting for this to be over, sitting on a stack of money, like, ooh, I can't wait. You're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
You're
Correct me.
fooling yourself.
They are big business. You're right, Captain. You are fooling yourself, but that's what the narrative that we're talking about. It keeps surfacing back around to the same thing. If you do your research, if you educate yourself, no one will ever be able to fool you. And
Yeah.
that's why we're here. We are really here to try to spread the knowledge, not because we know it all, but because we want to stop you from being fooled. Or maybe you're fooling yourself, and we want to bring you to the light. With some things.
Coming to the light, Caroline.
So,
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, it's we have to stop succumbing to things that we know don't make sense.
Yeah, we definitely do have to shake ourselves of that because
And
it's
that's people, places, and things included. I see people all the time. They're always shopping. They're always buying this, buying that,
yeah,
spending this and that. But then they wait all year long for the parking amnesty to come so they don't have to pay late fees and the hiking up the fees for their parking tickets.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
$200, $300 bag and Jordans and this, but you wait all year for that.
Yeah, that is absolutely right, Haitian Princess. That's what I was talking about. Uh, the New Birth church charging them people that mess, and then they recanted talking about, oh, we're gonna follow the governor's orders for the shutdown and not have people come out. No, Negro, that's not what happened. Y'all got too much backlash from people like, are you charging people? Are you seriously charging people? Yeah, and you know that the people that are gonna pay for these tests, one, are fearful. Two, they're probably, elderly or what have you, church members who don't really have it to begin with. But because out of fear, they're going to take money from someplace to do it. Come on, when
Right,
you got the test for free.
right, right. Yeah. It is in my opinion, Miss Piggy, that if someone can be still hustled, then they're not educated. And I'm not talking about the paper that you receive from school. I'm talking about what's in here.
Mm,
Outside of the degree, put the degrees down, close the door that they're in. But if you can still be hustled, then you are not educated, at least in that arena, whatever
mm,
area that you're being hustled on.
right. Well,
Yeah,
the
but
quarantine crusade. Yeah, the quarantine crusade, TC. And that's a whole nother thing. To these ministers and pastors who want to defy it as a sign of faith and have your parishioners uh, coming to church and possibly infecting them, please stop it. I thought about it in my head, but it didn't really like hit me until I heard a content creator say it. And it's actually true. If you during the whole thing of Passover about putting the lamb of the blood on the doorpost so that death could pass by, um, it's almost how this in a sense is playing out, kind of sort of. If you know anything about the story, they were told to take the blood of the lamb, put it on the door so the death angel can pass by, because every firstborn in Israel was to die. It was one of the plagues. So okay, you get to a point where you like, oh well, we're just gonna defy it and have church. Few pastors have already died from it. Don't necessarily know it was because of having church. Don't know, but the fact that they've passed. We don't have, everybody has not been tested. So
Right.
you don't know if you're interacting with someone and they may have it. We don't know.
Right.
So then why would you then still kind of still have these things? It's so much stuff. I mean, I could be on it forever.
Yeah, but I mean, let's break it down a little further. If we don't know if animals can get it, right? So then you're taking the blood of the lamb and putting it on the door, right? So then someone goes and touches it, and if that virus can live on that
But
door,
no, that was just the story. That's the
I
story of
know,
the
but
book.
I'm saying like people may actually be doing it. Like, let's
Oh,
say
really?
somebody in this
That would
chat
be.
thinks that doing that will prevent this because you said it. You know what I mean? They don't think about the counteraction.
I'm
What?
not messing with TC. She's talking about no, they didn't die. They rose again. Yeah, on the third day, right?
So you know, right
It was
now
the Lord.
a safe time to be touching the blood of anything.
No,
Uh,
y'all get deeper and deeper. That's it. I'm not going no deeper than that. I just find it to be a bit appalling. That's all.
yeah,
But we've been out here long enough, and I thank you guys for hanging out.
very
Um,
much so.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks again so much for hanging out with us. Again, I am your host, Captivating Christian, and
The credential.
yes, and if you have any questions, you can email me. My email is down in the description box. So is MrCredentialed. It's also down there. If you have any questions in regard, please leave a comment if you choose to. It would be greatly appreciated because we like comments, and I like to respond back to them. So I mean that's all I have. And thank you so much, Haitian Princess, Haitian Queen. I'm calling your new name is Haitian Queen over here. So thank you so much, Haitian Queen, for modding. You've been great, holding down the fort all by yourself.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate it wholeheartedly. You're the best. You rock. And I think that's all. You have anything you want to add?
Oh, I have my well has run dry for this evening.
I know, right? I think everybody's kind of like, okay, but thank you. I didn't intend for it to be this long, but when you have good
No, it's
conversation,
not
things are flowing.
covered
It
a
just happens.
broad amount of topics, so I'm fulfilled.
Well, that's good. Well, anyway, everybody have a great night. God bless and continue to be safe and follow the guidelines. And don't forget that the gentleman's panel will be here on Thursday. So there's a gentleman's panel here Thursday, 7:45. But some people are gonna be a little late. So yeah, 7:45, 8 o'clock. Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, so again, thank you guys for coming out. God bless. Good night. Peace.